For most of human history, that pause could be the difference between living and dying. Your ancestors were not always the apex predator of their world. For millions of years, they were prey. It's easy to imagine early humans as fearless hunters, spears in hand, dominating the landscape. The truth is stranger and more humbling. Anthropologists Donna Hart and Robert Sussman spent years studying the fossil record for one specific kind of evidence: bite marks. Puncture wounds on ancient hominin bones. Skulls with tooth-shaped holes that match the jaws of leopards and saber-toothed cats. Their research, published in the book Man the Hunted, argued something the field hadn't fully reckoned with. For most of our evolutionary past, humans weren't just occasional prey. We were a meal of choice. Think about that for a second. The animal you are descended from spent more time running from teeth and claws than chasing them. So how did your ancestors survive long enough to become you? Start with the predators themselves. Africa, where humans evolved, was once home to far more dangerous animals than it is today. Lions larger than modern prides. Hyenas built like small bears. Leopards that hunted at night with near-silent paws. And one predator almost forgotten now. Dinofelis, a saber-toothed cat some researchers believe specialized in hunting early hominins, because our ancestors were slow, weak-clawed, and easy to corner. Paleoanthropologist Robert Blumenschein spent decades studying bone surfaces from early hominin sites in East Africa, looking at scratch marks left by stone tools layered on top of older tooth marks left by carnivores. His work helped reconstruct a brutal sequence. Predators killed, predators ate, and only afterward did early humans creep in to scavenge whatever scraps remained, cracking open bones the big cats couldn't reach for the marrow hidden inside. This wasn't dignified. It wasn't heroic. But it worked. Now picture the scene Blumenschein's research helps reconstruct. Late afternoon on the savannah, golden grass swaying in heat. A pride of lions has just abandoned a kill, bellies full, retreating to shade. A small group of early hominins watches from a distance, waiting, counting the minutes since the lions walked away. They move in fast. No spears yet, just stone flakes sharp enough to slice hide and crack bone. They take what they can and they leave before the hyenas arrive, because hyenas always arrive. This is where your body's design starts making sense. Why do you sweat more than almost any other mammal? Why are you nearly hairless compared to other primates? One leading theory ties directly back to predator pressure and food competition. Humans evolved exceptional heat dispersal, allowing for something called persistence hunting, the ability to chase prey across long distances in the heat of the day, when most predators are resting in the shade because they overheat too fast. Your ancestors weren't faster than a lion, but over 5 or 6 miles in full sun, almost nothing could outlast them. That changes the entire equation. Instead of fighting predators head-on, early humans built an advantage no claw or fang could replicate: endurance. But endurance alone doesn't explain survival. Group behavior does the heavier lifting. Predators target the isolated. A lone hominin wandering the grassland at dusk was an easy target. A group of 20, moving together, watching every direction, was a far harder problem for a hungry leopard to solve. This is likely one of the deepest evolutionary roots of human social bonding. Cooperation wasn't a nice cultural bonus layered on top of biology. It was survival infrastructure. Tribes that stuck together, that warned each other, that took turns watching through the night, passed on more genes than tribes that didn't. There's also the matter of where humans chose to sleep. Archaeologist Curtis Marian has spent years excavating Pinnacle Point, a cave system on the South African coast where early humans lived roughly 160,000 years ago. The caves weren't just shelter from weather. They were choke points, narrow entrances that a small group could defend far more easily than open ground. Marian's excavations also revealed something else. Shellfish remains, evidence that humans at Pinnacle Point were harvesting food from tide pools, a resource most large predators couldn't easily compete for. Smart, low-risk calories, gathered along a coastline where the biggest threat wasn't a lion. It was the tide itself. This is the pattern across nearly every surviving early human site. Choose terrain predators struggle with. Choose food sources predators can't access. Choose numbers over isolation. Choose timing, scavenging right after a kill, gathering shellfish at low tide, traveling in daylight when night hunters sleep. And then, slowly, the tools changed everything. Fire is the obvious turning point. A burning branch held toward a circling hyena does something claws and teeth cannot counter. It triggers an instinctive fear response wired into nearly every predator on Earth. Campfires didn't just provide warmth. They redrew the boundary of safety after dark, the most dangerous hours for a species without night vision. Then came sharpened wooden spears, evidence of which has been found at sites in Germany dating back roughly 300,000 years, showing humans were already engineering weapons specifically built for thrusting and throwing. Then stone-tipped spears. Then the otlotl, a lever-like tool that let a hunter throw with far more force and from far more distance than an arm alone could manage. Each innovation pushed the line between predator and prey a little further in humanity's favor. But it's worth pausing on something easy to miss. This shift took an almost unimaginable stretch of time. Hundreds of thousands of years passed between easy meal for a saber-toothed cat and apex predator with a spear. Evolution rewarded patience, caution, and cooperation far more than it rewarded raw strength or aggression. The humans who survived weren't necessarily the boldest. They were the ones who knew exactly when not to take a risk. That instinct didn't disappear. It's still wired into you. Your nervous system still spikes with adrenaline at a sudden movement in your peripheral vision. You still feel a flicker of unease walking alone down a dark street or hearing footsteps behind you that don't match your pace. None of that fear is irrational. It's inherited. It's the same wiring that once told a small hominin band, hidden in tall grass at dusk, exactly when to freeze and exactly when to run. You don't share the savanna with lions anymore. Your predators today look different. Deadlines, debt, isolation, the slow erosion of feeling unsafe in ways no spear can fix. But the underlying machinery, the hyper-awareness, the comfort found in numbers, the instinct to seek shelter and community when something feels wrong, all of that is a direct inheritance from a species that spent most of its existence being hunted. So the next time your body tenses at something it can't quite explain, remember what that feeling actually is. It isn't weakness. It's an ancient survival system, refined over hundreds of thousands of years, still running quietly in the background. You hear a branch snap behind you, and for the first time you understand exactly why you turned around.